let's do this thing. All right, we're sitting here in America, folks, and Donald Trump is the president. He will take over, God help us, on January 20th. How the hell did that happen? Remember him? Insurrection back on January 6th, 2021? Well, we all got a little bit of a reminder of what it works like in actual democracies. You may have seen what happened in South Korea yesterday. Oh my God, it took them a whole 8 hours to put down their insurrection. Their president declared martial law. They had 300 troops come to block parliament. Parliamentarians and their staff refused to not let them into the building. They busted their way into the building. 190 of them were present out of 300, and 190 to 0. And I believe that crossed parties, voted to end his martial law and say, essentially, you're full of crap and you have no right to do this. And the pressure was such from the people who came out into the streets and from Parliament that he ended the martial law 8 hours after it began. 8 hours later. You know what else happened 20 hours ago? A little bit, same time period? Yeah, I'll mispronounce the first name, but he's a schmuck, so I don't really care. Jair Bolsonaro. Remember him? Very, very Trumpian from Brazil. I mean, almost like he went to Trump University, spent the money and never got a degree, and Trump ran off with it. I digress, but you know what? Bolsonaro was every bit the thug that Trump was, the authoritarian. He lost a freely held election, and then he engaged in a coup with numerous folks that he had plotted it with. This all came out. Now, did this all come out like 3 years later? Was this a process 2 years later? No. You see, within 6 months, he had to stand before a judiciary that banned him from running for office for at least 8 years until 2030. And 20 hours ago, he and 36 of his compatriots were indeed indicted. We're now talking in November, how this perfectly lines up with what Merrick Garland didn't do.
Is this true?
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Well, it'll offend you even more. So this process took, this coup attempt happened in January of 2023. We're sitting here in November right now, less than 2 years later, boom, he ends up getting indicted to the point where he will not be able to run for office in the future. And there are many of his co-conspirators. It'll shock you from the Christian right. There's a Catholic priest. There's some pastors. It's your usual rogues gallery, your Kash Patels and Hegseths and whoever. Okay, well, you know what else? You know how this perfectly lines up? January of one year versus November of the next year. It was January of 2021 when that group of crazy people wearing sweatshirts like Camp Auschwitz busted through windows, wiped feces on the walls, and attacked our Capitol at the behest of Donald Trump, who'd been planning it at the Willard Hotel with numerous members of Congress who we know showed up, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Mike Lee and others who show up in texts. And there's plenty of evidence they were there. That was January of 21. We're sitting here now in November of, well, we're in December technically, but okay, we that far of the next year, and oh right, Donald Trump's free and he's president again. Actually, let me back up for a second because I'm mixing up my timeline. Sorry, too quickly. It was January of 2021 where he committed the act. It was November of 2022. Sorry, guys, I lost 2 years in my brain there for a second. It was November of 2022 that Jack Smith was appointed. So in the same period of time, Brazil was able to actually indict Bolsonaro to prevent him from running again. It was the same period of time it took the ever so careful, ever so worried about political appearances, why we wouldn't want it to look political at all if one political party tried to overthrow our system. That's how long it took effing Merrick Garland just to appoint somebody. And that is why we're in the situation we're in right now. That's why you should be furious at him. You should be furious at the DOJ. They abandoned us. They were appointed to a goddamn job. It was done in Brazil. It wasn't done here because Merrick Garland had this to do and that to do. It's amazing how many Russians who will never see the light of day in America off abroad somewhere were indicted. Amazing how many other people, low-level people, were indicted. But those members of Congress, where we have actual text, we have Mike Lee sitting there in on the fake electors scheme and Ron Johnson in on the fake electors scheme. What happened? Nothing. How is it that they can do this in Brazil, but Merrick Garland's team could not for a year and a half, appoint somebody so that he could not bring a case against these people. As far as I know, he never even tried to bring a case against members of Congress. What is that? How are we? I mean, are you not embarrassed? Is this a democracy anymore? I mean, I can't wait till we have Jamie on so we can learn about what this looks like from abroad. South Korea can do it. Brazil can do it. But we can't? You got to sit there while Merrick Garland's, relaxing a little bit, taking it easy, wanting to look political, not wanting to speak out loud about anything going on, never giving us an update as to what the hell happened. And in the end, we have to drop. And the only thing Trump got indicted for in the end was, paying the hush money to the porn star. All the other stuff, the insurrection goes away, as it does for all these members of Congress. A number of them, by the way, Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, just won re-election. Lincoln, when they wouldn't support his re-election, threw the sons of bitches out for insurrection. You may know, the 6 Southern senators. We have a 14th Amendment purposely put in place, Article 3, that insurrectionists are not allowed to serve. So how is he even allowed to take the oath of office? Why are members of the Democratic Congress not standing up and saying he is not eligible to be president? Why during the process when he was running for president, he wasn't supposed to be allowed on primary ballots? Of course, the Supreme Court overturned that because they're a bunch of Opus Dei extremists. By the way, that's who was supporting Bolsonaro, if you want to start seeing conspiracy. The Opus Dei, the ones that refuse modern Catholicism, who go back to the ridiculous, atavistic caveman Catholicism of Jews killed Jesus and gays should be punished and, the rest of that crap. So I'm going to say, you want to remedy this in some way right now and show us you've got the spine to do what's necessary. And I'm speaking as somebody, by the way, who, again, I disclose as always, I wrote ads for Joe Biden in 2020. I think overall, as president legislatively, going up against what he was going up against, he did a terrific job. But when it comes to how this was handled, he could have, I don't care what the appearance looked like, he should have fired Merrick Garland a year into it for cause, not doing his damn job. He just pardoned Hunter Biden, and I fully agree with that, by the way, because that was a ridiculous, overzealous prosecution. If his name hadn't been Biden, Republicans would be celebrating in the streets that he filled out a gun form wrong and illegally got a gun, and that he didn't pay his taxes on time. But it was Hunter Biden. So what I'm saying is, you want to get this right now, here's how you get this right now. You stop listening to the norms, which don't exist anymore. You stop letting Republicans violate everything and say, you don't want to be improper, we don't want to look political. And I will give you the perfect example. It is sitting right there in front of you. The E-effing-P-A. No, let me try it again. The E-effing-R-A. That's what happens when I try to curse in the middle. And I can't curse, as you know, because YouTube will get mad at me. The Equal Rights Amendment. There's this BS opinion that Congress should have said, well, it has to be done in 7 years. That's not in the Constitution. Constitution says ERA, there's no timetable on it. Right now, Joe Biden can go to the archivist and demand that the Equal Rights Amendment be published. It has the necessary states have voted for it. And what a win that would be. Well, how much you want to get people to stand up and fight against fascism and give them the courage and let them know you've got their back and that you're a leader. What would that do if right now we said, oh, by the way, on the way out, the ERAs are, guess what? We've got another amendment. That last one, what was it, 1981, where we said you had to be 21 to drink, which I had a problem with in high school, except for I lived in New York. So, I knew the right delis to go to. But I digress. In the end, that to walk out on that note would be the greatest thing that Joe Biden could do right now. And he just, if you want to say broke a norm or do whatever by pardoning his son, do it with the ERA. Do it for all the women in this country, for all of us who love women in this country, for all the non-nuts, non-MAGA freaks dancing around with Trump flags, wearing Trump diapers and the rest. Do it. It's been 100 years that we've been trying to get this done, and it's done. Congress can't put some fake BS timetable on it now. Do not listen to an opinion that does not have legal weight. Look at the U.S. Constitution that said expressly there is no timetable. Get the archivist to publish it and pass the damn thing. And learn a lesson from what Brazil and South Korea just did. You can hold your leaders accountable really quickly if you want to. So, maybe Merrick Garland shouldn't be in government again. And maybe next time we put in anybody in the attorney general's position or any national security position, we should make sure they have the spine to actually do the goddamn job. And that is Cliff's note for today. A little angrier than usual. Thomas